Hi, in this video today we're going to talk about the Silicone smoothing tools. They're really good. This is a no-nonsense brand bought from Screwfix, but various different places will do them with various different brands. So essentially all you do is you put your silicone on your gap and then you just use one of the tools to move along and it leaves a nice joint behind. I'll show you up in the bathroom in a minute. So we have 3 different ones in the pack here and they do different things. If you look closely they'll be numbered up 5, 6, 10, 8 and 3. These are the straight edge ones. You can also buy the same brand with curved if you want a concave joint. But I wanted a nice straight joint, hence the reason I got the straight edge ones. If you're wondering what these numbers mean, if you look closely, 5 will simply be 5 millimeters. So you can measure it there on the horizontal, or when you're doing your vertical, which I'll show you in a bit, you can measure it there, and that's also 5. If we were to go to the 10, it's the same thing, but it's going to be 10 millimeters. So this is going to provide a bigger joint than the 5mm one. If you've made a bit of a mess and you want to clean up, you can use the right angle one to completely scoop out all the silicone that you've just done. And if you want a tiny little 3mm joint, which would be very small, you can use this one here. So you're going to be putting your bead of silicone on and you're going to be using this flat side of the tool because I was unclear, but it's the flat side you use to smooth it out. So we're going to go up to the bathroom now and I'm going to show you that job that I did, and I'm a complete amateur. I must have done this job maybe 2 or 3 times in my life, but the finish is okay, much better than using a wet finger and much better than using masking tape in my opinion. Now before you put any silicone on, make sure that everything is completely dry because the silicone's not going to stick very well if it's wet. But once the silicone's on, if you want to wet this before smoothing, then it's okay because it's just going to help the silicone kind of flow nicely if you were to add a little bit of soapy water in a saucepan, and I was just dipping this into the soapy saucepan and then it just allowed it to work nicely. So this was done the other day. Now it's not going to be quite as neat as on tiles because, for example, this has a bit of grain, but considering it's an amateur's job, it's not too bad. So the idea is you get your sealant and you're going to put in more than the amount you need, because if you put in too less, this isn't going to fill up the hole of not having enough in. So put in a little bit more than you think you need. And I went for a 5mm joint here. So the idea is you use the flat side here and you're going to come along like this here because you're using the flat side, and then you're going to be smoothing out the silicone here and it's going to be bunching up in front of it here. And then this is the beauty of having the way it's been cut here. You can then do it vertically like that and you can go over the joint again, and then what you're doing is you're cleaning up the bits on the wall because you're going to have bits building up here and on the floor. So when you do the vertical one, it's not going to touch the joint anymore because it's already been smoothed, but you're getting rid of all the excess from the wall. And then when you do the horizontal one, you're getting rid of all the excess from the floor. And you end up with a nice good joint here. Just remember not to do it at an angle like this because you're going to adjust the size of the joint. Always keep it square to the wall or the toilet or the pedestal sink, whatever you're doing, always keep it square here, and you know the joint will always be the same size. So let me just go over to, for example, the pedestal on the sink. So with something like this, just remember to keep it square with what you're doing. So you're going to be moving it around like this all the way around, and that way then the size of the joint will always be the same rather than doing this. So now that I've got these tools, I'll never be without them. They are quite expensive for what they are, but they're going to last me probably my lifetime, and I think they're really good because you can go over the same joint over and over again and it makes it nice and clean. And the finish is pretty good for somebody that's not used to doing it. One question that I couldn't find the answer to online is, why is one side beveled? If you know why one side is beveled, could you put it down into the comment section below? Because you're supposed to go from this side on the flat side. So I don't know why they've put so much effort into it being beveled this side, because if you were to lay it flat on the bevel side, then you've changed the size of the joints. So I'm not really sure why they've done that. So that's a question for the comment section. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. Thanks for watching.